All right, we're live to the Random Gaming Shit podcast. I just thought up a name real quick because I want to do a podcast, but it's more of like a random one. I don't know if I'll keep going with these episodes for this one. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. There's some stuff I want to talk about. I haven't been on here in a while doing a podcast, and a lot of people have been asking me to do a podcast. I just really have not, really honestly, have not had the time. With moving, having 6 dogs, and everything else going on, it's almost impossible. It's even hard for me to do live streams lately. But there's a lot of stuff I didn't get to talk about. Dirty's here with me. Me and him are going to discuss some stuff to do with Sony, Microsoft. Not too much to talk about with Microsoft, to be honest. I mean, is there Dirty or no?
No, not too much. Unless interested in the X.
Yeah, unless you're interested in the X, and that's pretty much, I mean, I think we know just about everything we can possibly know about it at this point. I mean, other than that, I mean, well, let me first introduce, what's up, Old Dirty? The Old Dirty 33. Thank you for joining my podcast.
Thank you, Dave.
Or our podcast. Whenever I do podcasts with people, I think of it as our podcast, because they help do the podcast too. But yeah, Xbox right now is just in a weird predicament because they're having a new. I don't know if you technically call it a new console. It's an upgraded console. It's not like the Switch. That's it's a new Nintendo console. It's a different like it's different from the Wii U. The Xbox One X is going to be different than the Xbox One, but not in the ways like the Switch is different the Wii U. Like you can only get games on that console. I think most of the games with the Xbox One X you can get on your Xbox One S or your Xbox One. So, I mean, if you're a big resolution junkie and maybe you're trying to get into 4K gaming, and like, well, Dirty, you like 4K Blu-rays, but you're getting the S, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna get the S because from what I see, I have to do some more searching.
Mm-hmm.
Xbox One S is the 4K Blu-ray player, for right now that I know of, unless I do some more research to see if the standalones actually came down in price.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if you're looking to get like a 4K Blu-ray player, that's that's like one of your best options, I'd say. If you're like a graphics junkie and you want the best resolution, I guess I mean I haven't even followed a lot to do with the Xbox One X because I haven't even really gave a shit about the PS4 Pro. I'm gonna keep it real. I'm sure it's gonna be the same game you're playing, just it's gonna look the resolution's gonna be bumped up and you might have better frame rate, might keyword. But it looks like it's a big resolution thing. And some people just want the new shit. That's all it is. A lot of people out there just want to keep up with the Joneses or say, hey, I got the Xbox One X, But on this conversation right here, if you're saying that to me, like, okay, you got the Xbox One X, but I got the Xbox One and I can play everything you can, just maybe not in 4K, so I don't know. To me, if it's like a console comes out and it has exclusive shit, then it makes me more enticed to actually want to get that,
Yeah.
Are you the same way, Dirty, or?
What you talking about, like having the latest?
Yeah, like I'm just saying, like it's cool having the latest stuff, but in this situation, I mean, you're looking at a console that you got the Xbox One, I got the Xbox One, and for us to get an Xbox One X, is there enough there to spend that $500?
To me, no. Um, I'm I'm just not um looking to upgrade the same console I have. I'd rather have a brand new generation console than just a upgraded of the same console. So I was never excited for the S. I was never excited for the X. I wasn't excited for the Pro. I'm like, all it is just an upgrade, and you want me to go out and spend, another 100, 400 or 450, whatever how much they were when they came out. And I just wasn't doing it. I'm like, look, my Xbox and PlayStation 4 is only 2 years old. And you telling me you got 4K now and you want me to go out and go get a 4K and then also look for a TV, not just any old 4K TV. No, I need to have one with HDR, HDR10, Dolby Vision. All I have to have at least one of those to actually see the visuals that they want me to see. The colors and the blacks, inky black, and the bright whites and all that. That's what you want me to see. So I have to get that certain TV. I just can't go get a 4K TV and be like, oh, I'm set. No, I got to go get a certain kind of TV that have that function.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was never excited for these consoles because I'm like, why is you pushing us to 4K when we can do this next generation? You know what I'm saying? Like, who was sitting around the board table talking about, hey, you know what? Let's update the Xbox. And Sony's like, hey, y'all, why don't we update the PlayStation to the Pro and make it 4K? Like, for what? You at the beginning of the generation, you 2 years in, or almost 3 years in, and now you're talking about let's upgrade a console, the same console, not bring us a brand new console for the next generation. No, let's just bump everything up. You know what I'm saying? Let's bump up the GPU a little bit, add an extra teraflop in it, and call it a day. Like, no.
And you know what it is? You know what? You know what it? Not nobody ever really talks about this right here. It just dawned on me. I mean, everybody bitches about remasters a lot of the time. I always say, hey, if I haven't played it, then what the hell? That's if I haven't played the game or want to play it again, then I'm fine with it. But when you really look at the big picture, this whole generation, they have sold you games that you have played 10 years ago, 5 years ago, fucking a year ago, maybe less. They're selling to you again. Who knows? If I look at all the games that came out, some of these games possibly just came out in the same year and they're doing something. You never know what they're doing. They're making another edition on another console, but if you look at all what they're doing with games, they're doing the same shit with consoles. They're selling you shit they've already sold you over and over and over. They're doing it with consoles now. Like, hey, yeah, we'll just give you this console. It does the same shit. Just basically, this one does a little better resolution, and you might, keyword might, have better frame rate. But it's going to play the same games. You'll be able to go on online with your buddies and play the same matches they can. Everything's going to be the same, And that's where I have to respect Nintendo when they came out with the Switch and brought a whole new experience to your hands and on your television, And I have to, commend Nintendo for that.
Hey,
It just seems like to me, Microsoft and Sony are getting lazy.
hey, Dave.
What are you gonna say,
Can you just give me like 30 seconds? I just need to run to my front door to grab something. So just keep talking.
Okay.
I'll be right back in like 30 seconds.
That's fine.
All right.
All right. So yeah, we got Levon Cason in the chat. How's it going, Levon? Probably getting ready for school. School's starting. You got Joni from Mind Blown Movement. He is paying the bills. I have to say, if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be able to do this podcast. Thank you, Mind Blown Movement. And we got the one named Shadow. What's up, one named Shadow? How you doing, buddy? He says no, all HDMI cables will work with 4K. Oh, is there a 4K cable? Okay, I see what he's saying. Nintendo is the worst selling. Nintendo. Tony says Nintendo is worst reselling games like 900 different Marios. Yeah, but Nintendo does that. But look at how a lot of people pick at Nintendo for a lot of shit. But look at what Sony and Microsoft are doing this generation, selling you consoles over and over. I'm just saying, like, if you look at the consoles we are playing now, the current ones, I'm not talking about like the NES Classic. If you're gonna pick about stuff like that and go with Nintendo doing that, I'm talking. You know damn well if a PS1 Classic came out or a PS2 Classic, people be all happy about that. You know that, just like the Nintendo fans are happy with the Classic. But I'm just saying, Sony and Microsoft, with what they're doing with these consoles, they're kind of doing, it's like the same shit they're doing with their games. They're just selling these games over and over and over, And these consoles, I'm just not buying it. I want a new experience. I wasn't blown away by fucking Microsoft this E3 when they just came out and basically showed you shit we already knew that was coming. And they said, oh, yeah, and we're going to drop this console. It's pretty much the same damn thing you got, but just better resolution. And maybe, and keyword, maybe, better frame rate. No. I think it's just, if people are running out to buy this. If you have a 4K TV and you want to try it out, I can understand that. If there's more people buying these consoles that don't even own a 4K TV than that have a 4K TV. So that's what I don't understand. That's just me. I just think it's weird. But they said it does benefit the regular, 1080p TVs and stuff like that, but you're not getting the full true experience unless you get 4K TV. So it's basically keeping up with the Joneses. People just want to have the best things.
I'm back, Dave.
I mean, I don't know. We got on this conversation because we got on Microsoft, and there's not shit to talk about when it comes to Microsoft, really, because that's all they got going on is this Xbox One X and a lot of games we knew that were coming, And right now, it's very, very, very dry with the Xbox. Unless you're playing third party and that's your third party, console. It's your choice to play third party. Then I guess you're doing good with it, Exclusive wise, that shit is dry.
Yeah, Microsoft has been getting a little hate this generation. Like,
yeah, but can you blame? Can you really blame anybody why they're giving Microsoft hate?
Well, it seems like the fans want more exclusive titles, which I ain't mad at them, but you know, the tables turned. You know what I'm saying? They did what they did last generation, and um, they had I wouldn't say like all the deals, but they had like a lot of exclusive deals. Like with certain games, you got stuff early than PlayStation, and then PlayStation come and turn it around, and kind of did like the same thing they did last generation. But I mean, the fans wanted more exclusive. It looked like Microsoft wasn't focused too much on exclusive. Well, paying for exclusives, I guess. But I guess that hurt them in the long run.
I think what they're trying to do is win the third party, pretty much the people's choice of the place to play third party. Because when the Xbox One X comes out, it will be the most powerful console, and third party should be looking pretty good, unless the developers gimp the version of the Xbox One X and make it look, just like the PS4 Pro. Then there's no real reason for that power other than exclusives. And if they don't got exclusives, that's a fucking worthless machine. I'm just keeping it real. So if they're going to go out and focus on third party, make the best third party with it, and they take back the third party market and the place that, the people's choice or whatever, I can't think of the word, but basically, and I'm a little rusty at doing this podcast stuff, so you got to give me a little slack. But the people's, preferred place to play could be the Xbox One X when that rolls out. Because right now it's PS4, Pro and PS4. Basically that's the preferred third-party platform for a lot of people. It's got fucking over 60 million units sold versus Xbox One is about half that. I haven't looked lately, but that's what last time I remember what this score was. Now you got the Switch. Let's just cut to the best part. Fuck it. Got the Switch going on. That is really doing good. The Switch is fucking doing a lot better than most expected. A lot of people had the system doomed after the Wii U. It said it had no chance. Nintendo's doomed. What are they doing? Underpowered console, all this bullshit. And you got the Switch out there, selling pretty good. What did it sell dirty?
It sold
4 point what?
7. 4.7 million, and
4.7 million units sold. You know, that's pretty damn good. You know, and you can't. And Switches are hard to find. You know, they're still one of them hot items. So, what's your
yeah,
thoughts on the 4.7 million units sold? Dirty.
man, it's my hats off to Nintendo. I think it probably would have sold more if if Nintendo didn't have this shortage.
Mm-hmm.
From what I'm hearing, they going back and forth with parts with Apple, because Apple, trying to get their new iPhone out. I guess for this year, later this year, and Nintendo is using some parts too that they also use on their iPhone for the Switch, and it's like they going back and forth. So I think if Nintendo could have like a steady flow of consoles coming out, I think it is
They're dirty. I think we lost Derby. Uh, well, may cut in until he comes back. But yeah, the Switch sold 4.7 million units since it came out in March, which is fucking highly impressive. The system's doing well. Right now, I hate to say it, guys. I I don't hate to say it. I'm happy to say it. I shouldn't even have to say that. I hate to say it because you know why I'm like that? Because I'm so used to that fucking shitty Wii U. I'm still my mind's still stuck in the Wii U of that horror show that went on with Nintendo. But I gotta look past the dark clouds in Nintendo and look into the light and the happiness that's going on. The Switch. I'm happy to say that it is my right now console to play on. I've been playing Street Fighter 2, Ultra Street Fighter 2 with my brother every time after work. When we get done with work, we pop it up in tabletop mode and we play Street Fighter like back in the day when we used to play. I love that Street Fighter. And Street Fighter 2, while I'm on that, sold, 450,000 copies, I believe. And I think I'm right. I don't quote me on that, but somewhere around that. And that's pretty good for a fucking old ass game. You know, decades old. You know, uh, and you have to throw Nintendo a bone here. I mean, they're doing good. They're actually getting their stuff together, and I enjoy playing my Switch. Now, I could sit here and talk about a lot of great things with the Switch that I love. Like all the games that have come out recently, like ARMS, Splatoon 2, Ultra Street Fighter 2, Zelda Breath of the Wild. The list goes on. Um, but there is some negatives with it now. There is some negatives. The online is atrocious. I mean, I'm talking like with what they did with the voice chat. I just don't think it was a smart move. And I have to keep it real here. I don't see it getting any better unless Nintendo really wants to step their game up with that, which would be a smart move. Because if they had the online going just like Xbox One or PS4, and you have games that are just fucking awesome like ARMS and that, and you can actually get into a match and meet random players playing these fantastic games, it would bring so much more to the console, hands down. you know, it would just it'd bring a lot of extra shit and really make these games get their full potential. Because right now, as much fun as they are, they're at their half potential with the online. Because you got to think, a lot of these games are online. ARMS, Splatoon 2, Mario Kart Deluxe, Ultra Street Fighter, and if you had it where you could just randomly talk to people that you're playing with, it would bring so much more of an experience to those games. Which it's a great experience right now, playing those games in your hand and popping into dock mode and playing on your TV. And most of those games are 1080p, 60 frames per second, unlike a lot on the fucking Xbox and PS4, Xbox One, PS4. Dirty, you back?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I bumped into the whole thing with Street Fighter real quick of what was it, 450,000 units sold for Street Fighter, Ultra Street Fighter 2?
Yep. They were saying that it may be more. It might be over 500,000 copies, because they said 1 month wasn't added, wasn't counted for. So but for what we know right now, it's like right there at a 500,000, and who's to know with digital and stuff like that, it could be over because Capcom they said that they was, you know, it's they were surprised. It, surpassed their expectation for the game. So I was like, well, what number was in y'all head that y'all was thinking it was going to sell? Was it like 100,000 or something, or close to 100,000? They thought it may sell on a Switch, but I mean that's good. They satisfied with it, and they talked about bringing more games to the Switch. So that's a plus.
And the thing is, that's what's good. Now Capcom will, go look back and they're like, hey, even if they're gonna do ports and shit, it'll still be good for the Switch because a lot of people like playing these games on fucking the go. I mean, the one cool thing about the Switch, guys, which you gotta understand if you're a hater, or not. When you can take a game like Splatoon or Splatoon 2 or Mario Kart Deluxe or ARMS on the go, just take it to people's house and play it on like a handheld like that, or pop it on the TV and it looks as good as it does, man, it's an experience. So if we can get these third-party games on here, I mean, I know even Skyrim's an old game, but that would be cool. A lot of people would like that on the go. The more I thought about it, I was like, okay, I see what they're doing. People like shit, like to play Skyrim a lot, still to this day. So now they're gonna be able to take Skyrim to fucking work if they have one of those type of jobs where they can play at their job. Because there's a lot of people that can play games at their job. I had a friend that, he would work in a autism place for people with autism, basically like a nurse in autism, taking care of autism people with autism. And he would bring his Xbox 360 to work and use the TV there, bring it over to his little station. And somebody like him, he could have brought his, Nintendo Switch to work and not have to do all that, or if you want to take it, just on the go in general and go where you go, that's where I could see where Skyrim, a game like Skyrim, because it's so popular. And like you were telling me, a lot of people want Grand Theft Auto 5 on the Switch.
Yeah.
It's just something people want to take on the go. Games, I mean, it's pretty beautiful when you're looking at a game like Zelda Breath of the Wild on a handheld. It's like, it's nice looking. Like, that game looks really, really good on a handheld. It's impressive. Yeah, you got Street Fighter, did 450,000, maybe more, copies sold. That's really good. You had what else we got going on? The Switch sold 4.7 million units since its release. Mario Kart Deluxe did 3.54 million units. That's pretty good for a game that already has been released on another platform. But you got to think, what did Mario Kart on the Wii U do? Did it do about 5 million?
Um, I thought it did 8.
I mean, I'm just thinking in my head. I think it was Splatoon that did 5 million. Maybe it was Splatoon 1.
Yeah, I think Splatoon did around there. I think Mario Kart did, if I'm not mistaken, I think 8 million.
That's pretty good. Let me look it up right now, get the exact number of what it did. But I mean, for what it sold on the Switch, three point what was it? Just said it. It was it did 3.54 million units with a game that has already been out on the Wii U. I mean, that's good. That is really good. Most games, most exclusives, let's keep it real. Most exclusives on the fucking PS4 or Xbox One, especially Xbox One, don't even sell that many. Let's just keep it real.
Well,
Most.
with the whole taking your game on the go, I really don't take mine on the go. I only took mine out a couple of times. I took it to work twice, and I actually took it when I went out of town on a plane, and that's when the console launched. You know what I'm saying? And I had it with me at the airport. I took it out, and I had people look. They was like, "Hey, is that the Switch?" We're like, "Yeah." They was like, "Oh man, cool. I'm trying to get my hands on one." And what was funny was while I was on the plane, I say maybe like 15 minutes after I got myself comfortable on the plane and everything, And I was like, you know what? I'm like, take out the Switch and play some Zelda. So took out the Switch, and it just so happened the guy sitting right next to me, he seen I had my Switch. He go in his bag and pull out his Switch. You know what I'm saying? And we both just, struck up a conversation about, Zelda and stuff like that, and how far did we get, or did we find any type of armor or whatever, little stuff like that, little small talk. So that was pretty cool to actually see, what I'm saying, people out and about that have they Switch with them, and now understand what people like. Oh man, I could take that on the go. You know what I'm saying? Public transportation on my way to work or the train or whatever. I could pull it out, get a couple of rounds in or whatever. And I was like, that was pretty cool when I seen that, man. I was like, because I was surprised. I'm like, damn, you got one too. He's like, yeah. And also had a young girl actually seen it. She was like, "Oh, Daddy, he got a Switch," and he was like, "My daughter was admiring the Switch that you have, because I was putting it back in the protective pouch that I carry it in." I was like, okay, thank you. He was like, "Yeah, she want one," so we're actually trying, trying to find them, So I thought that was pretty cool that people are looking for them, and the people that do have them are actually taking them out with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I bring mine all the time to work. Like I said, if I bring mine, like lately with Ultra Street Fighter 2, me and my brother got deeply into it like we used to back in the 90s and play it. And we just play it for 3 hours usually after work. I went in like a little gaming slump there for a while where I wasn't playing much games for a few months. Playing them, like my gaming went down where I was playing from like, I don't know, 6 to probably about 6, 7 hours a night, like 1 or 2 hours a night. Now I'm getting back up there again.
Yeah.
But we're having a blast, and I bring it to work usually every time I go to work. I usually play it afterwards, or I play it on the ride there. The only thing I have to complain about with the Switch, other than the whole online where the whole what they did and stuff like that, is battery life. They could have done a little bit better with the battery life. 2 more hours. Yes, I do have a battery pack and all that stuff, but I'm just saying, like, sometimes I forget the battery pack thing, and it'd be nice to have an extra 2 hours. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I don't care what anybody says. A game like Zelda Breath of the Wild, even Street Fighter, you're getting like 2.5 hours. You're getting two and a half. That's pushing it. I say about a little bit over 2 hours with your Switch, and it's gonna have the brightness all up and everything. I like to see the game. You like to play in the dark and shit like that, and maybe you might get a little bit more out of it, but you're not getting that much more out of it. I don't think. I think it's right at 2.5 hours. That's what I think, especially when that battery wears down some. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think with a game like, Ultra Street Fighter, it's not graphically pushing the hardware in the Switch, you know,
Mm-hmm.
in dock mode. So you probably get a little bit more, about maybe 2.5 hours or a little bit past that.
It's about at two and because I play that lately with it charged. It's about 2.5 hours, somewhere around there.
Yeah,
About what it is. And that's my biggest complaint with the Switch is the battery life of it.
yeah,
Uh, but you can get a battery pack and charge it and all that, and it'd be okay then. But going back to Mario Kart 8, yeah, you were right, Dirty. It sold around 7.43 million on the Wii U. So for it to sell that much more on the Switch, that's impressive. 3 point, was it 3 point, something like 3 point, let's see what it was. I think it was just had 3.54 million units sold for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So that game did very well. I'm sure they're happy at Nintendo with it.
yeah,
And Breath of the Wild did pretty good. That sold 3.92 million units on the Switch, and I don't know what it was on the Wii U. I'm sure it did really well on the Wii U too. That did well. And they got more. They got a bunch of games that came out that like all the games that have been coming out on the Switch have been really good. and then they got even more coming out, you know. And if they can keep this rolling the way they got it rolling, I'm real interested to see how the Switch does on its second year. If they can keep this up on its second year the way it's going, man, they got a good console generation for this thing on their hands. Would you agree?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, they do have something, special on their hands, So if they could just, keep the games coming and the third party games, we're starting to hear, trickle down, third party games, coming and being announced. That'd be awesome, So who's to know? Next year we'll hear more from third party. Hopefully, you know what I'm saying. Like I said in the last podcast I was in, Real Gamer, it it, it could be number of things of why third party. A lot of third party is not on the Switch, but we're finally hearing them here and there. Is because one, they probably didn't get the dev kits in time. Two, maybe they just don't believe in Nintendo fans of buying third party games because just like we hear it, oh, who buys Nintendo consoles for third party? They also hear that. So why would they, go out of their way to spend money and knowing that they're not going to make that money back? You know what I'm saying? Putting it on the Switch, and a few other things that could take place. But we're starting to hear games come just a little bit slowly. So, like I said, when these games come, you know what I'm saying, you got to go buy them. You know what I'm saying? You like the Street Fighter. We sold a 500,000. Capcom was pleased with it. They announced Resident Evil Revelations 1 and 2 for the Switch. It's not going to come day one with Xbox and PlayStation, but it's going to come down the line. Which I think Real Gamer said this, and that was a good idea. Think why the Switch is not getting it day one. I think it come out this month for PlayStation and Xbox is because that same day or that same week, Mario versus Rabbits is coming out.
That is
So
true.
so why would you try to go up against that game that has Mario in it? So you got a lot of Mario fans be like, yeah, I'm gonna grab the Mario Raging Rabbit versus the Rabbits over, you know, Resident Evil. So that, I mean, if that's how Capcom was thinking, then that was smart. Move it somewhere where there ain't no Nintendo game. So it can sell, just like the Street Fighter did. Street Fighter came out, maybe like a month after Zelda. There was no fighting game that was online. We got it, we played it, and then everything else started coming out like Arms came out maybe like a month after that. So that was good to have that Street Fighter right there for like a good 30 to 31 days with, no Nintendo, creeping up on it. You know what I'm saying? Within the same week or a week after. So that's why it sold the way it did.
So you think that, all Nintendo games, like not all, but like say they threw out a game like, let's go back to what's came out. Let's say Street Fighter came out the same month as Splatoon 2. You think it would do as well as it did?
No, I think it probably would have been a little less. I think
Okay,
the
okay.
Street Fighter would have sold less instead of 100 and some thousand. We probably would have been looking maybe half,
So
maybe
you're
two.
basically saying that the reason Ultra Street Fighter 2 did as well as it did is because there was nothing around at that time period. And I think this is my thoughts with the Switch, and I agree with what you're saying. But the way that they have been dropping games for it, like if you look at the Switch's launch titles, there wasn't much there. Let's just keep it real. It was probably one of the worst launch, worst launch titles in the history of gaming. Like just the way they did it. Other than Zelda Breath of the Wild, because we all knew when we got that console, that's what we were buying it for. We're getting it for one game. But if you didn't want Zelda Breath of the Wild, you had slim pickings for what they had, at launch. So the way Nintendo did it, they're like, okay, this month Arms is dropping, then this is dropping, then this is dropping. So they spaced it out. So if it's a new console, you want to play something on it, you want to play different games, and you're hungry for games. It just is what it is. So the way they did it was fucking perfect. Because every time you play this game, the games that they were dropping is like Mario Kart. So that's going to keep you busy for a while, and it keeps you just enough until the next game comes out. So it's smart how they did everything. I want to see what's going to happen though when it gets to its second year. Is it going to continue like this? Because I think they got to make the choices with the different video games. Why choose wisely? If that game's going to keep people's the way that they're doing it, because they're not dropping a bunch of games at once. They're doing one here, one there, one here. If you go look at Xbox One and PS4, you got so many games from different developers dropping. There's so many different things to pick from. So I hate to say this, but when you're on Nintendo, if you don't like Nintendo games, you're on the wrong fucking console. Let's just keep it real. Would you agree, Dirty?
Yeah. I mean, even though Microsoft and Sony may have tons of games coming out this week, those fans are still going to buy those games. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If they not buying maybe two hit titles is dropping the same week, most of they fans will go and pick up those two games if they're two hot games that they want. Like, yeah, I want both of those. I'm getting them. You know what I'm saying? As with Nintendo, you drop something like a Zelda, Metroid, Mario. Motherfucker look at Resident Evil, be like, yeah, right. I'm getting Metroid. So
Yeah, and that's how it is on a Nintendo platform. Most people want, they play those games. That's why, Nintendo. It's going to be interesting, to see with how third party, because third party from what we got so far, we didn't get a lot of it, but like certain games, like we're talking about right now, like Ultra Street Fighter 2. I want to see how that does, like, games like that do on the Switch if they keep doing good. And if they keep doing good, there will be third party on the Switch. Now you were saying earlier, don't mean to cut you off. I just want to remember before I forget this. You said this is one topic I really want to talk about with the Switch. And we'll go back. I just want to bring it up so we remember what we're talking about. We'll go back to what you're saying. The whole thing with the size and everything of these, the reason why a lot of third party isn't on the Switch with the whole size of the disc that they're probably going to be bumping up on the cartridge. My bad, cartridge, not disc. That's one issue because I've been saying for the longest. I've been looking at third party, and I was like, it's so many updates with those games, and you look at Nintendo games, and you don't see as many updates. So when a third-party game drops on the Switch, like Call of Duty or something, if it ever does come, they have a lot of updates to put on that bitch, and the Switch with the amount of space it has, 32 gigs, that's not good. You were saying they were gonna make bigger cartridges?
Well, it was rumored that Nintendo is going to give third party access to larger cartridges that have more space on it because I think the largest that third party can use is a 32 gigabyte, and the only person that's actually using that 32 that I know so far is Dragon Quest 10 and 11 over in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only one I know that's using the largest cartridge that Nintendo has out right now. So Nintendo said they'll have to bring out even larger cartridges because I mean, with NBA 2K18, they're talking about that it's going to be there day one on the Switch, but it's just going to be the digital copy, and then the physical copy will come down the line. They say like in the fall. So I'm like, why would they do that? And I had to think about it like, okay, when I look at NBA 2K17 on the Xbox One, that damn thing is like over 50 gigs. And I'm pretty sure the update, every time you update it, it adds more gigs to it. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, wow, like, why do a basketball game need to be this big? Even with Call of Duty, the remastered version, it's bigger than the Infinity game, Call of Duty. I'm like, how's the remaster over 70 gigs? I'm like, that's almost up there with fucking Halo Master Chief, and that has 4 damn games on there, all the maps. Well, actually 5 games if you got ODST and all the maps for each game. I'm like, damn, like why do a remaster that been out for 15 years ago needs to be over 70 gigs on your hard drive? It don't make sense. I don't know if third party know how to compress their games, or like
I guess they're just compressing them very poorly, I would say, because if you look at Nintendo and what they do with games like, oh, let's fix that. You got Nintendo that makes a game like Zelda, Breath of the Wild, or Splatoon, or stuff like that. They actually put time into the game, so they don't have to make a million fucking updates. These third party, companies. I was watching a video. It was really interesting. This guy, I sent it to you. He was talking about Dishonored 2 and how it had such a rough launch because of like all the shit they had to do to fix it. And he said it was like a great game. He loved it, and I like Dishonored 2. I'm pretty close to the end of it. I was a fan of the first one. But he was talking about how poor, how much of a rough start that game had, and he was using that as an example for many games that just come out and are poorly done, and just put out, rushed out, just to meet, people's demands of games being released or their company, their quotas. They're putting good games out that could be a lot, good games, but they're putting them out at shit quality, and they're going to fix them as time goes on. And some people get discouraged by that and end up trading a game in and
yeah,
saying fuck it, or just totally never getting it, because and that's Nintendo don't do that. Nintendo actually puts time and quality into their work. Like they put they make a good effort to make a good product, and they usually succeed.
yeah,
Unlike a lot of other companies that just are waiting to, just wanting to make that money, or meet that quota.
yeah. And plus, what I wanted to say was, you know, going back to the
Oh yeah, I almost forgot about that. I was gonna go back to that, but so I didn't want to forget this before it slipped my mind. But yeah, what were you talking about?
yeah, even going back to the Ultra Street Fighter, um, I mean, the way it's sold is because one, um, there was no fighting game at launch.
Mm-hmm.
Switch. Two, it had online, and three, the online plays very well for that Ultra Street Fighter.
Oh
Like
yeah.
it runs smooth. Like if you're playing against the computer, there ain't no lag or nothing. And I think that's one of the reasons why the game sold the way it sold, is because it didn't have a Nintendo game running up behind it. Two, it was the only fighting game that you could play online with random people or with friends.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if let's say like Lawbreakers, the guy said he said like, oh, couldn't put Lawbreakers on the Switches because the Switch didn't have enough buttons, which was funny as hell. But I think if they would just actually think and be like, you know what, let's take a chance, put it on the Switch, because one, we'll be the only first person shooter on the Switch that has online. Don't you think that game will sell? Yeah, because you have no other choice. You don't have Call of Duty. You don't have Battlefield. You don't have Battlefront. So if you got a game like Lawbreaker, and let's just say it when it come out is actually good, you know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? People that had a Switch will flock to that because that's the only online shooter that's on the Switch. So it will sell well. You know what I'm saying? It will sell, over 1 million. But
Mhm.
most companies don't think like that. You know what I'm saying? Like even like with Call of Duty, I could see them saying, you know what? Let's put Call of Duty on there and we'll be the only shooter and it should sell well because the console
Mhm.
is selling well. All the other games are selling. Bomberman even sold over 1 million. And we haven't seen a Bomberman game in I don't know how long. But the fans of Bomberman actually went out and brought it. So that's what I'm saying. When you have certain things like that, different genres of games, and that's the only genre that you have is just one to choose from out of that genre, more people's going to flock to that game because there's no other choice. They don't have to choose between Battlefield or Call of Duty. It'd just be one or the other that came to the Switch. Oh, well, I don't have a choice. I can't play Battlefield, but I will pick up this Call of Duty. Or I will pick up this Battlefront because it's the only one that's on the Switch and it has online. So you can play with your friends or just random people. And I think that's why Street Fighter sold the way it did. It sold, fairly well for an old ass game. That's why it sold. It's the only fighting game, and it was online, and it had a good online.
Mhm.
So, and I think too, Nintendo. I think Nintendo will have to. Me personally, I think Nintendo would just have to start going into their pockets and just start funding some of these games. You know what I'm saying? I bet you if Nintendo go over there to Take Two right now and say, "Hey, we want Grand Theft Auto 5 ported, and we will take care of the publishing for it," they'll jump on it, and that game will probably be ready by the first quarter of next year
Mhm.
for the Switch. I think
Yeah.
Nintendo will have to start funding some of these third party games too. You know what I'm saying? Just to show three things. One is going to show Nintendo, is trying to get the games out there, not just their first party games. Two is showing the fans that hey, we're getting the third party games. Three is showing third party, hey, our game actually sold very well on the Switch. Now, when next year come around for that Battlefield, Call of Duty, or whatever game it is, Nintendo don't have to fund it because now third party is like, man, my game sold damn near, almost 4 million on the Switch, a third party game. So now I'm gonna bring the sequel. And Nintendo don't even have to publish it. We're gonna use that. We're gonna fund our own money because we're gonna have it on the Xbox. We're gonna have it on the PlayStation. We're gonna have it on PC, and now we're gonna have it on the Switch because we know that we have fans on the Switch that want that game, and we're gonna make our money back, just like the other console. Those
Mhm.
are those are the three key things to keep the Switch going. These Nintendo fans got to go out and buy these games and stop bullshit talking about I don't buy third party games or I don't play third party games. Man, go out and buy these games because if you want, because now all of a sudden you hear a lot of Nintendo fans talking about they want third party since you could take this on the go. Because at first all you hear is I don't know third party games or I don't buy a Nintendo console to play third party. Now all of a sudden they want these third party games. You motherfuckers wasn't buying them back in the day, but now all of a sudden you want them. So you better buy them when they come out. Because if you don't, just like Capcom, that was a test. Capcom said it they self that they were surprised at how much it sold. They were surprised that it sold that much. It didn't hit 1 million. It hit a 500,000, and they was fucking surprised that it sold a 500,000. And probably in their eyes, they was probably looking at maybe 50,000 to sell or 100,000 the most to sell on the Switch. And it went beyond that. So now they say, hey, we bringing Resident Evil Revelations 1 and 2. Now, if that sells well, guess what? We can get Resident Evil 7 because they
Mm-hmm.
already said they got the game to run on the Switch. So if we can buy Resident Evil Revelations 1 and 2 and get the sales up for that, we'll start getting more games from Capcom now. We won't be, you know, um, put to the side while Xbox and PlayStation, what I'm saying, get these games. Especially these old ports, what I'm saying, like the Mega Man collection that most of the Switch fans want. Then maybe you will get those. But y'all got to go buy these games. And another test from third party is EA. The only game EA is putting out next month, I think it is FIFA. They not putting out Madden. They not putting out NBA 2K18. I mean NBA Live 18. And those two games, Madden, come out this fucking month.
Mm-hmm.
And they not putting it on the Switch. So if you don't buy this FIFA 18 for the Switch, that's telling EA right there, we ain't putting no game. We ain't gonna put no more games on here. We gonna pick and choose what we want. If they decide to do that, this is a test. Why wouldn't they put Madden 18 and it come out this month? Why wouldn't they put that on the Switch? I'm telling you, they testing the fans on FIFA. If that FIFA don't sell well, y'all can hang it up for EA games. I don't want to hear nobody talking about EA on some bullshit. And they ain't putting this game. No, because you motherfuckers didn't go buy it. That's why. Now, I can agree with you last generation with the Wii U. They bullshitted with the Nintendo fans by giving us Mass Effect 3 and then come out 2 weeks later with the Mass Effect trilogy for the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. Now
Mm-hmm.
I can give you that. I can give the fans that because I was upset with that. But when it come to FIFA this generation, yeah, that's the only game they have coming out for the Switch. I'm telling you now, you motherfuckers don't buy it. Don't say shit when EA said they ain't bringing nothing to the table. Don't say a word. Don't make no videos. Just chalk it up and swallow it. Like, oh well, we won't be getting no EA games.
Mm-hmm. Oh, like Wolflow said in the what's up, Wolflow and Joey RKO. See who else joined the chat. The one named Shadow. Shout out to you again, buddy. Flip Bayless. Mind blown movement. Joni's paying the bills. Wasn't for him, we'd be broke. Wouldn't have this podcast. Couldn't afford a computer. I paid for it all. I think I got a video game lover 58. Thank you all for watching. Resurrection, Stiffkins, thank you, buddy. Make sure I got Melly 16-bit Gamester, Levon. Thank you guys. But going back to what we're talking about, and I want to answer Wolflow's question because Wolflow said, he's like, I don't care about third party on the Switch. To be honest, he said I'd rather have trophies, HD, HDR, gaming recording, etc. The other guys are providing. Yeah, but you gotta, what Nintendo looks at like, Wolflow? They look at it like this. They still look at it like this. They're gonna always focus on the children. It is what it is. I don't care if Nintendo. The funny thing about Nintendo is they're always gonna focus on the children, but they always forget that their biggest audience are the people that were around when they first came out. You know what I'm saying, Dirty?
Yeah.
Like adults are their biggest audience. Like it's been like statistics already like kids like Amiibo and all that, but like for their home console shit, it's always been adults because they were like people that grew up on the shit like us. But the thing with Nintendo that they always look at too, they're like, well, we got Donkey Kong, we got Mario Kart, we got Splatoon 2, we got ARMS. We're gonna have the new Metroid that's coming. You guys don't have that. Sony won't have that. Microsoft won't have that. And they look at it like that. They know that they're going to sell like they sell Mario Kart Deluxe, fucking over 3 million. And most fucking exclusives on fucking Sony and Microsoft don't even hit that. you know. And that game's already been sold on the fucking Wii U, you know. Like, you look at a lot of these games that take the only one that struggled that was an exclusive other than Wonderful 101, I'd say, was Bayonetta 2. That was the whole Wii U situation. Now that they're back, you know, where their systems like sell them where you can't get a hold of it in a lot of places, you know, these games are going to be, you know, moving millions, you know, and yes, I'm like many people. I would love to see, you know, trophies and achievements and all that, but I don't know. Nintendo don't want to do that, unfortunately. Will they do it this generation? You never know. I wouldn't hold your breath, you know. But like Dirty said, the online that they do have runs smooth, and I'm happy with that. You got a ranking system in a lot of these games, like ARMS and Splatoon 2. You get different ranks and stuff. That's cool. I mean, I like something that I can sit on the couch and just fucking play, and I don't have to hook up all this shit. You know what I'm saying? That's what I like about the Switch. Like, you can just, my brother thinks it's, you know, he thinks it's cool because we can just pop it on the table and play Street Fighter like we're at the arcade. You know what I'm saying? Like on a split screen. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just reminds me like that. It's fun. You know, I think it's cool. Would you agree, Dirty, or no?
Yeah, I definitely agree.
I mean, that's unique that you got a console in your hands, you know, and that you could do in tabletop mode that is basically a little bit under an Xbox One or as powerful as an Xbox One. And you got to give it some time, guys. It just came out in March, you know. There might be trophies and all that coming, but right now it just isn't here yet. They're still doing good. That's the thing. Like, I'm still enjoying it. You know, I bought just about every good game that has came out on that thing. And the whole third party thing, the reason why third party is important is there is going to come a time, most likely, when Nintendo can't keep up like they're doing with third party right now, where they're releasing them here, there, and there, and they're going to need some third party to fill in those gaps. That's why third party is a must. You know, even if they don't get the same third party as others, they have to get something third party, like Mario Rabbids or something, like Ubisoft did that. If they can get more companies to help with their games, if they want to do that, or if they can get them to make their own games, you know, like make it Bethesda to do their own shit on the Switch, that will work too. I mean, as long as this console's selling the way it is, there's endless possibilities, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just going to keep getting better and better, you know. I would love to see, you know, at least, you know what I want over anything? If I could choose anything right now, even over achievements, a regular voice chat and all that, I just want to send a simple fucking message to somebody online. Like, because it's crazy. I seen when me and Dirty were getting ready to play Ultra Street Fighter 2 today, he jumped online, and I can see Dirty when he jumps online what he's playing, but I can't send a fucking message to Dirty. Like, hey, like, he was already going to play me, so I'm just saying, if I seen like Poppy 2K pop up, a Resurrection, you know, or, you know, say Jay Centuries went and got a Switch, or Hydro, you know, and I seen them pop up on the screen, I'd like to be able to send them a message. I want that more than anything. If they could just give me that to send messages to my friends and not go through the damn Miiverse like they did on the fucking Wii U, they just give me straight up messaging, that'd be awesome. You know why I don't think we get that? Want to know why I don't think we get that?
Why?
Because if you look at Xbox, I'll give you a funny story recently. My nephews will go on my brother's Xbox and just raise hell, just do all kinds of crazy shit. Like, they like to get on Rainbow Six. Oh, my one nephew likes to get on Rainbow Six and shoot. And you know how the match starts up and you can shoot your own teammates and shit? He just likes to go on there and just do that and laugh and get horrible messages. Like, people send him messages and death threats. And now my brother has a really bad, like, rating as a player because of what these kids, what my nephew's been doing. He does shit like that. He'll get all these horrible messages sent to him, and he thinks it's funny. You know, killing the teammates. That's how kids are. You know. But the thing with the Switch, you know, Nintendo looks at, like, they don't want to see their, you know, customers or whatever, especially if they're kids, getting horrible messages from people playing games and shit. They think of that shit. I'm telling you, that's probably the reason. That's my opinion. You know, they don't want to see that type of stuff on their system. You know, and that's probably why you'll never see Grand Theft Auto 5 on a Switch. I doubt that. As much as people want it, I doubt you'll ever see a game that violent on the Switch. Doubt it. I mean, Nintendo's its own thing. If you grew up on Nintendo like me and Dirty, and many people probably in the chat, I'm sure Stiffkins grew up on Nintendo, Hydro Resurrection, Wolflow, the list goes on, Levon. You know how Nintendo is. I don't know why people think Nintendo is going to change. I really don't. At the end of the day, I don't understand how people. I don't. You know, it's funny. Look at Microsoft and Sony and what they're doing now, and how they're making these, upgraded consoles and pretty much just remastering a console. And Nintendo came out with an actual new console. You can see that they're not following Sony and Microsoft. They didn't even go in the direction of Sony and Microsoft. So what makes you think that they're going to start now? Let's be real. What are you going to say, Dirty?
Yeah, I mean, it baffled me that um, the Microsoft fans and PlayStation fans. It's like I didn't hear any fussing going on anything about the Pro and the S and this X. Like, it's like they want it. It's like, oh yeah, I only had my console for 2 years, but hell, give me an update to the one I already have and let me go and trade this one in and damn near get no money for it.
Yeah, here's $50. Have a nice day. Now pay the rest, $4.50. Like, who
But
wants to fucking do that?
but I guarantee because this always happens. I guarantee you, if there was no upgradable console for the Xbox and the PlayStation right now, we just still had the original vanilla, whatever the hell they call them.
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo did this with the Wii U. It's still the Wii U. It's called the Wii U Pro, and it was a upgrade console. You know how many people would be upset? You know how many Microsoft?
They'd have a lynch mob. They'd be burning.
You know how many Microsoft and Sony fans would be making videos? You know how many be making videos, Microsoft and Sony fans? Laughing, making fun of Nintendo. Oh, they can't bring out a real console, so they gotta upgrade the console they got because it's garbage.
No, they'd say they gotta upgrade it because it's too weak. I can hear it already. It's too weak, and now it's even weak. Now they made a new one that's just pretty much weaker than the other consoles that have came out. They'd always pick a Nintendo, even if they did something like that. Which technically Nintendo did do something like that with the 3DS and the new 3DS, but that was the handheld thing.
Yeah, but most people don't.
But how long has that console been out and all that shit? You know what I'm saying? Like, they wanted to, I guess, continue it. I don't know. So technically, Nintendo has done that, and not with their home console.
No, never with their home console. This is the first time this has have been done with a home console.
And then the icing on the cake, there is a rumor that the PS4 Pro is going to get another Pro. They're going to do an updated Pro. And I figured I could have seen something like that coming if that is true. Rumor, everybody. Rumor in the chat. I don't want to get lynched for saying rumor. That has happened before. But, it's expected because Xbox is going to come out with a powerful console, and now they're going to run out and get something just as powerful, if not powerful. It's like the power game. Oh, you're making this? Oh, we're making this. Oh, you're making this? It's like stupid after a while. I can see already in the future, they're going to have the PS6 come out. Let's not even talk about the PS5. Let's talk about PS6. And they're going to have all these different versions of it. They're like, okay, well, this one runs at this. And you can get, 4K whatever with this, but on this one you can get this at this frame rates, and it's gonna be just like PC, and hopefully Nintendo will still be doing the same shit they're doing, making an actual gaming console.
Yeah, I mean, when I already know by the history of Nintendo. Nintendo is not going to fall into let's rush into 4K.
No, they'll be in 4K 2 generations from now. I don't see fucking Nintendo even going near 4K anytime soon.
Yeah, because I mean, just like with the original Wii when it came out, the reason why they said that they didn't go HD is because one, there wasn't enough TVs in the home. And when the Xbox 360 came out and PS3, I didn't have an HD TV. I was still playing on the standard definition, playing my games for a while. You know what I'm saying? So Nintendo was like, why put out something that most people ain't going to see or enjoy? I mean, yeah, you enjoy the game, but you want people to, I guess, to see, how your game actually look if it's in 4K, instead of playing it on a 1080p TV. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Wolflow asked you, let me just get this. Wolflow asked you, would you rather they kill off the PS4 and Xbox One like the Wii U instead of do these updated consoles?
no, you know what, Your Flow, I don't want them to kill off the four and the one. What I want them to do is keep moving forward this generation with those two. And then when you're ready to bring out the next generation console, the next Xbox and the PlayStation 5, then tell us, hey, these consoles gonna be in 4K. We're moving to 4K gaming with these two consoles. Everybody be happy. Everybody will be happy. I'll be like, oh, we going to 4K? Oh, that's cool because you know what? Guess what? I done got 5+ whatever how long we're gonna go this generation with my PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. I'm fine the way the graphics look on the 1080p TV. I have no problem with how they look. Now, if you tell me 3 years from now, 2 years from now, they're working on their next consoles and it's going to be 4K, oh, I'd be happy. I'm like, oh, 4K, okay. Let me look into the TVs, you know what I'm saying? Because I have time, you know what I'm saying, to see what TV I want, how much they actually cost, and when that time come for that console to come out, who's to say, 2 years after, you know, we hear about it, that TV is going to be cheaper now.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm not upset because I'm sitting here in a generation and you tell me, you know, 2.5 years in this life cycle, hey, we're giving you an updated version. It's going to be 4K. Um, so if you want better visual, you want to play in 4K, go buy this console and get rid of your old one. Like, no. Like, I don't want to spend another fucking $400. I just gave you 400. So now me, I got to give you another $400, and now I got to go buy me a TV so I can get the visuals. Because remember, you just can't go and get any 4K TV. You got to go get the TV that have HDR, HDR10, Dolby Vision, either one of them to actually see the graphics in 4K that they want you to see for the games. You just put it on a regular 4K that have no HDR. It looks nice, but it's not what it's supposed to look like with the HDR. Because when they announced 4K gaming, guess what? They didn't tell nobody about HDR. We found out about HDR when those consoles came out.
Mm-hmm.
So now
Yeah.
I want to go find me a TV, you know what I'm saying, that has HDR, HDR10, and all this crap just to get the visuals. And it seemed like this generation, everybody is on visuals. Last generation, everybody was on 1080p and give me some good games. Now this generation is your console only do 900p and the visuals don't look as good because I can tell because it's 900p and you suck. That's what this generation is about. That's why we don't have any good games like we had last generation. We had
Well, they're focused on this resolution shit, and they
they
jumped the
focus on
gun. They
this
should
shit. And
they should have focused on 1080p instead of going to 4K. They should have,
even
stuck with
still,
that.
Microsoft and Sony still didn't master 1080p 60 frames per second. And now they done sold you on 4K native 60 frames per second. How can you actually believe these companies when they couldn't do it last generation or this generation? But now they're going to skip ahead to 4K native 60 frames per second. And you excited about this? Okay.
Yeah, and then like Wolfo says, the whole HDR thing, you don't see a lot of games really pushing that HDR. Remember they made such a like the HDR one of the games that took very like I would say full advantage of the HDR was Forza Horizon 3. That looked really good. Like the stuff I seen with that with HDR. The damn game looked good without HDR. It's just a beautiful game. Period.
Yeah, it's a beautiful game.
And now you don't hear much about HDR no more. Like Wolf, like what I'm seeing with like kind of like what Wolf is saying. You know, you're seeing it's all 4K. You know, checkerboard or you know, like that's the big thing now. And remember, I was funny when like you seen you know the PS Pro get that, and now I hear the Xbox One X is going to get checkerboard, and everybody was kind of making fun of that. Now they're not, because that's what's coming.
Yeah.
So I think you know what I like about the Switch too. A lot of their games are 1080p, 60 frames per second.
Yeah.
You know, and that's cool. You know, like that's what these other consoles should be focused on. They shouldn't be focused on, you know, this 4K shit. Because I just laughed. I see so many people get these like the PS4 Pro and they don't have 4K. It don't make much sense. And I feel sorry for the people that had went out and got a 4K TV when, you know, before all this shit about HDR and all, you know, stuff like that. And now they're screwed. You know, not screwed, like they still got a pretty picture probably on when they play their game, but they would have waited a little bit, they would have got the HDR too. Like that HDR shit, like I think you just said, like it came later on, and you know, like
Yeah,
I
it's
just
just
feel, yeah, it's crazy.
yeah, it's just like with Zaire, you know what I'm saying? I remember him getting his first, 4K TV and everything. And then come the Xbox One S and the Pro coming out, and when he get those, it played, but it his that TV that he paid, what he say, a couple of $1,000 for. Guess what? It didn't have HDR. So he was looking at a game that looked just slightly better than 1080p. He wasn't getting the full effect of the game. So if I'm
Oh,
a upgrade to a Pro or a S or X, I'm getting the TV that's going to give me the visuals for that console.
mm-hmm.
This TV was only 2 years old or almost 2 years old, and it wasn't even compatible. It was compatible of playing it, the game, the system on the TV, but he wasn't getting that visual of HDR, HDR10. He wasn't getting those vivid colors that pop off the screen. You know what I'm saying? The ink blacks and the brightest whites and all that really, make the visuals shine. His TV didn't do that, so he had to go and buy another one. I'm like, wow, that's crazy.
Oh yeah, he's like one that likes to get the newest of the new. Like if a new 4K TV comes out, he's got to go get it. Like if it's something better than what he has, you know, it's basically keeping up with the Joneses. But you know, I mean, a lot of people like to keep up with the latest technology. And but yeah, what was I? Something slipped my mind. I wanted to say I was supposed to have Gamer Nate on here last week. He wanted to do a podcast, and I'm gonna bring up his topic because who knows what's going on with Nate. I never know when I'll hear back from Nate or whatever. So I might as well just kind of he could more elaborate on this if he does come on the podcast. You know, in the next one or whatever. When we do it. I don't think he'll be here tonight. I haven't heard from him. I didn't text him or anything, but I just want to kind of bring on something that he had talked about. He said, you know how like I think Wolflow in the chat said something about you know the something about the leap, like leap from HD or from SD to HD. I think it was Stifkins that said it. I don't know. But you know, the leap that Gamer Nate told me, he said the other week when I talked to him, he said the leap is here actually. And you know what the leap is? PlayStation VR. You know, he's been playing it lately with Resident Evil 7. But, you know, I would hold on. I'm in a podcast. Hold on. But what's your thoughts about the whole like PSVR? Like since you don't really hear about it no more. That's the only thing. You don't even, you know, it's like it's non-existent. What's your thoughts? You actually got to try one, Dirty. You were telling me.
Yeah, I actually got a chance to experience the PlayStation
And
VR
let me ask you this
headset.
first: do you think that could have been or could be the leap that people are looking for, VR, or no?
No.
No, and why would you say so? And then tell
Uh,
me your experience with the VR. I'm just so people hear.
my experience with it was it was good. I don't have any too much anything bad to say about it. The only thing I would say no is because one, you have a headset on. The headset was comfortable. It wasn't heavy on my head, anything like that. When I turn my head, left and right, look up and down, I didn't feel any discomfort or anything. It felt comfortable. But my thing is, no one is going to or wants to play a game for hours on end like they do now with
Mm-hmm.
a VR headset on their head. And the reason why I say that is because um, who's to say that you won't strain your eyes get tired, you get headaches, or you may get motion sickness because when you put on that headset and you turn on that game, it's like you're standing in the middle of that game. When you
Mm-hmm.
look around behind you while you sitting down, standing up, and you just turn around, look behind you, guess what you see? The game. So it's like if you're in the room, like let's say like Resident Evil 7 uses the VR headset. Okay. When you play without the VR headset, you're just looking at your TV and you know that your character is in that room, but you only see they hand or and weapon that they hold it. With the VR headset, you don't see your room that you're sitting in, your living room or bedroom, wherever you play. You're actually seeing what's actually in that room in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels like you're actually standing in the middle of that room playing that game. So if anything jumps out, jump scares, jump out of a closet or something, it's going to be right there in your face. Not on your TV
That
that you're
sounds
looking.
pretty cool though. But why wouldn't you say that wouldn't be now? With what Nate said, that in his opinion, from what he played. Oh God, you have to excuse me for a second. I got about 15 dogs that rushed the room. Get these fucking dogs out of here.
Now, the reason why I say that, people, is because I don't think a lot of people will want to actually sit there on a couch and play a game that long, a VR headset game that long. Um, like I said, you can get like motion sickness. You can get headaches, eye strain, anything. I don't think I'll be able to play a game as you know. I play my game maybe a good 2 hours. If I'm just by myself playing, I ain't playing online with friends or anything. I'll probably get a good hour and a half to 2 hours of playing maybe two games.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and with friends online, oh hell, we can go into like 5 hours or more. I don't think all of us will be able to sit there with a headset on for like 6 hours with your friends just playing a game. I don't know. To me, I don't think that VR is there yet to do that. I don't know
Well,
how
my
many people in the comment section can say, yeah, I think I could do V. I mean, if you can, the people in the comment section, if can you do VR like you game right now? If you game more than 2 hours when you play the game, can you actually sit there with your friends in a chat and play VR games? Or if you're not playing anything, just have the headset on, talking to your friends.
well, if
I,
something's entertaining, you can do it. But like you were saying with this people having seizures and shit, that probably would most likely. You told me when we were talking on the phone, like
yeah.
people that would most likely go on. But like VR, my biggest thing, I think the reason why VR, wouldn't, from what I've seen that out now and what's going on, it's not affordable. If somebody was going to jump into VR and they didn't even have a PS4, like if they want to get PSVR and they don't have a PlayStation, they got to spend fucking anywhere from $300 to $400 to get their hands on a PS4. If you're going to go buy, that's if you're buying a new one. If you're buying a used one, maybe you go the used route. Which I never recommend that for any electronics. Don't buy used shit. It's not usually good unless you get like a good deal on it. But you're looking at $300, $400, somewhere around there, $300 or $400. Then you're looking at an extra $500 on top of it. Now if the whole thing was just $400 or $300 and that's all you had to spend, then it would be good. But VR, it's just it's too much. That's the biggest thing, and they don't advertise it like not advertise it. They don't have it set up in enough places for you to try. I still, out of all the places I go to buy video games, I have not seen a PlayStation VR set up. Haven't even tried one. But from what I can tell and from what I've seen, if they did that right, and had the right support with it, it probably could be the next step in gaming. But there's so many things that fall, so many things you could think of. Oh, well, can you play this that long? Can you do that for over 3 hours? Are you going to spend that amount of money? Or it's too much ifs, But I want to get him on here to talk about his experiences with VR. I figured I'd bring it up because I was going to talk about it last week, but he says that's the next step in gaming. So whenever Nate comes on, he'll give you guys the reason why he thinks it's the next step in gaming.
Well, I know one thing: when the price goes down for the PlayStation VR headset, I will pick one up. But for me spending $500, I'm good. If I know I'm not gonna, I look at and I think most people will look at the VR as having that first Connect that was for the 360, or that the original Wii, motion controls. Right now, that's how VR is. I don't see VR like being that number one thing. It's something to experience for a short period of time throughout the day, or every other day or something like that. Like, I don't see myself gaming real like heavy in VR, unless they just got some cool ass kick ass games or something. But for me, I would have to wait till that price come down, because Sony scares me when they put stuff out like that. Like the VR headset I experienced, I think it's cool, looks nice, but I just don't trust Sony, because Sony puts stuff out there and it's like they don't promote it, they forget about it, they let third party like take over it, hoping somebody would take over it. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot of devices out there that Sony puts out there that they just put out there. Like, okay, experience it, buy it, and we'll give you a couple of games. And I'm pretty sure third party will put games on there too. Like, no, I don't want to go out now and buy a $500 headset, get everything for $500, and then come, let's say, next year sometime, they done dropped the price on those things dramatically. And I'll be upset. But like, damn, I paid $500. If I would have just waited, a couple of more months, a few more months, I could have got it at this reduced price. So that's what I'm scared of. That's why I'm not rushing.
Well, that's the biggest thing. I agree with you totally. I don't want to go out and buy something for $500. That's just going to be a dust collector on my shelf in no time at all. Because I'm just seeing that right now. Because I don't see, like, it's crazy. You get on YouTube and you see advertisements for the Switch. See PS4 advertisements. I even see stuff for Microsoft more than I see PSVR. But I have, like, with what Joey RKO says. I do agree. He says basically for VR, that's a good price. Yes, it's a great price for VR, but to sell it to the casual audience, they're not going to pay that. They're just not. They're not going to go buy a console for $300-$400 and then spend an extra $500, you know, so you're looking at like fucking $800-900 to get into VR, and that's not counting a game and all that shit, you know. So I mean, I think, or you know, if they market it better and actually had it at stores for you to try, maybe people would look past the price and say, "Whoa, this is cool." There's so many ifs with it, you know. But with what Nate's saying, which he'll come on and explain his story, I do see. You know, I've always seen VR could be a next step. I have to agree, it could be the leap we're seeing, but it's not going to be the leap with how it's going right now. No way, I can't see it being the leap. I just can't see it possible right now. And you know, when they release PlayStation VR, it's like the worst time to release that. You're releasing it with all these consoles that came out. You know, like didn't come around the PlayStation S and the PS4 Pro. You know, like all that shit was coming out. It's like too much stuff going on to even have a release like that. And I haven't even seen the numbers for it. Was the numbers good for PlayStation VR? Have you heard anything? Anybody in the chat or Derby?
No, not really. I'm pretty sure it didn't sold over 1 million. I'm pretty sure, but I'm not sure on the numbers.
Yeah, I haven't heard any. I haven't looked into any of the numbers for it. But I don't think, from what I've been hearing, I don't think it's doing too well. You know. But if anybody knows of any numbers, I'd be interested to hear them. But I don't think it's too good. But other than that, trying to think of anything else. I'm gonna definitely start doing podcasts again. I can't get into my account on YouTube on my other channel. That's why I'm on this channel, which I use this channel a lot, anyways, for like live stream and stuff. I'd like to go back on the other channel, but I for some reason can't get my password into my computer on the other channel. And I had the same issue with Pokemon Go. Like I was playing the shit out of Pokemon Go, and I got locked out of my fucking account. I changed my phone number. So it wants to send me with the email bullshit. It wants to send a code to my phone number, but I don't have that phone number no more. So I'm running into that issue with YouTube right now. I got to figure out how to get back into my account. I can live stream on that account because it's already set up and I'm already in it. But unlike my laptop, I can't get into it. So might be this account here if I can't get my shit going. So I'll be more doing live streams and stuff like that. I just want to let you guys know because somebody said in the chat earlier, I never know. I think it was Redemption. Said I never know when Dave's going to live stream. Yeah, it's very random lately, guys, because I have a lot of shit going on. I moved recently. We've been really busy at work. We work a lot of nights lately. We've been work days. Still unpacking, and I have a lot of dogs at this house, and it's a lot to take care of, and a lot of shit just going on, just in general. I'd love to start live streaming like this. I'm going to try to do it at least every 2 weeks or something. I'm going to start live streaming with, doing the podcast stuff every 2 weeks. Maybe every week. We'll see how it goes. Videos, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to go back to videos anytime soon. It'd be just stuff like this, podcast and live streams on, playing PS4. I can't do the Switch, unfortunately, because I don't have a capture card. My PC won't run the capture card. I already looked it all into that. Because I was doing something that Thanos was doing with the Xbox One. You run your Xbox One through the your Switch to the Xbox One. You live stream it with OBS, but my PC just can't handle it. It just lags real bad. I did Mario Kart one day, so maybe if I get a better PC, I can do Switch live streams and stuff. For right now, it's gonna be like PS4, on YouTube, and I'm gonna do I think it's called Mixer on Xbox.
Yeah.
But yeah, I heard great things about Mixer. Jay Centuries always tells me great shit about Mixer, that it's like lag free and all that stuff. Twitch, I think I'm done with Twitch. I just don't care for Twitch. Have you tried Mixer yet, Birdie, or no?
No, I haven't tried it, but I've been on there looking at, people stream games and stuff like that. And I have heard good stuff about it too. It works way better than Twitch. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy the experience of streaming and stuff. I don't have a big following, like, I'm not a big YouTuber. I'm happy if I got like 10 people on there watching. I'm good. Even 5, I don't really care. I I want to talk a little bit this before we stop the live stream, but I watch the I don't watch the community as much as I did. If something big is going on in the community, I'll check it out. But I mean, I'm just keeping it real. Like me and you were talking the other day, and you look at a lot of these guys. Like I was watching this one guy MVP. He was going at Resurrection and talking about how many people he has at a live stream and stuff. And I'm like, I'm thinking in my head, if it wasn't for Hard Eight, that guy MVP wouldn't be where he's at.
Yeah.
And most of these dudes on here, let's just keep it real, they will fucking sell out faster than anything. Whether they're selling out, to another YouTuber to get big, or they're literally buying bots and having fake subscribers, like the guy Jimmy, like Resurrection calls him, Jimmy B. Botten. You look at his views. Like, it's not fucking rocket science to look at this shit. You look at their subscriber count and look at their views. If it don't match, it's like Next Gen says, the audio is not matching the visuals at all.
Yeah.
And it's funny. Like, it's like I could have came on YouTube. And, when all that Nate shit happened and I was getting a lot of subscribers, I could easily bought subscribers and nobody would have known shit because I had a lot of views going on at that time. And that's what these guys do. They cause a big fucking commotion, get something going, and they're fucking bought the fuck out of their shit. And they say, oh, well, I was, all this shit was going on here. And that's when it happened. Bullshit. You bought it, I just laugh at some of these guys get like thousands of subscribers, like a couple thousand, and you look at their views, like it don't match. Like when you're getting as many views as when I'm steady doing YouTube with 900, 800 subscribers, it don't fucking match. One thing I've always done on my channel, my other channel, and even this channel, I keep it real when I do it. This channel, I've neglected both channels ever since that shit happened with Thanos, and he, kind of we had her back and forth, and it got me a strike and stuff. I wasn't feeling YouTube then, but that really just kind of gave it's, it's like, what, it's a good time to take a break from this shit because I'm getting burnt out on it. I got burnt out of YouTube. I did it for 4 years, and I really loved it, and I still like doing it. Not as much. I'm gonna keep it real. I don't like it as much. I still enjoy live streaming. I like podcasts. I don't know if you'll ever see me go back to doing videos. I'll do podcast stuff. Maybe I'll do a video here and there, but I don't know. Maybe one day I'll go back to doing it. I don't see it right now in the future. I really don't. With uploading videos and waiting for the videos and tagging the videos. No, I just like doing shit quick, like getting on there. I enjoy talking to people on live streams. I enjoy talking to people on podcasts in the chat, listen to what you guys got to say and who I'm talking to on the podcast. I just want people to know that's where I'm at with YouTube right now. There's a lot of stuff going on. I will try to do a podcast either on this channel. If I get into my password on my other channel, I will, do at least every 2 weeks, maybe every week. I don't know. We'll see how I feel. I'll try to at least get it out there every 2 weeks. I'll keep the live streams going. I'll try to start live streaming again. I lost my PS4 camera in the move, and I finally found it. So that's another reason. I was streaming without a camera about a week ago or so. But going back to the whole community. What's your thoughts? You've been in this community a lot longer. Not a lot. How long have you been in the community, Birdie?
I've been around for a few years, but I was like never really, that much community. I was there, but I wasn't trying to be a big name person and all that. I was just doing it for, because I enjoy video games. I started off doing movies, like, showing my Blu-ray collection movies and stuff like that. And then I started getting into the gaming side. And, only reason I did the gaming side is because, that's my passion. I love playing video games. You know what I'm saying? I love playing, different consoles. You know what I'm saying? Let people know my experience on different consoles and stuff like that, different type of games and stuff like that. I never looked at YouTube as, I'm trying to be that big person.
Mm-hmm.
That was never in my head. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, if I get subscribers, you know what I'm saying, I'm cool with them. I'll be cool with, whatever, how many subscribers I have, and I'm gonna be honest and get them the truth. I'm not gonna bullshit and lie to them or say what they want to hear. No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna give you the straight truth, of what I feel, and that's on all consoles. Even if I was gaming on PC, I give it to you straight about PC. But with the consoles and stuff, I'm gonna give it to you straight, no matter who they are, Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft. They doing something stupid, I'm going at them. And that's
Yeah.
that's how I had my channel. You know what I'm saying? So I was never looking to be that big name or to you know buy subs or I have like 5,000 subs. Now, if I have 5,000 subs, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? But I wasn't in it for that. You know, I was just in it for
Yeah,
fun.
I mean, I get what you're saying. I used to be all into like, when I first started doing podcasts, I was trying to get the newest, new people all the time, bring new people to podcasts, get new conversations going. But then I don't know, I got burnt out of doing that. I was doing podcasts for a good minute there. I remember when I was doing podcasts, there wasn't many people doing podcasts. It wasn't like the thing. It wasn't like the thing to, the thing to do. Like, it was funny when I said this before. When I had 20 subs, I was wanting to start a podcast. At that time I watched Zaire a lot and stuff because I was new to the community. I thought I still do. His content's pretty good. I don't like he does so many damn podcasts. I like when he just does videos himself. Um,
Yeah.
but like, I had 20 subs, and I remember going around and asking everybody, "Do you want to do a podcast?" And they're like, "Oh, you only have 20 subs." And RXL agreed to doing it. You did, Wolfflow, Clown Meat. And then I started getting, people on the podcast. It was fun, but nobody wanted to do a podcast with a guy with 20 subs. Now you got fucking one sub and start a podcast, and people just want to join it. They don't give a fuck. But you get burnt out of doing them. I've done a lot of fucking podcasts, a lot.
But
And you have too with me.
but most people got to
Yeah.
realize, you know what I'm saying? Oh, you only got 20 subs, but yeah, we put out good content, you know what I'm saying? Podcast, that number grows. Because
Mm-hmm.
remember when you came to YouTube, how many subs did you have? You know what I'm saying? Like you have to start somewhere. Just because one
Yeah.
person is, low, don't mean they're not going to get views. Yeah, they're going to get views from their subs, and then they subs let somebody else know, and then your podcast, winds up in somebody's recommendation. And sometimes when you look at your recommendation, you see different videos and something catch your eye, and you just click on it just because of how they worded the title. You know what I'm saying? Or the title caught your interest and you clicked on that video and you like the content that they showed, or you like their sense of humor or whatever. And you might not subscribe right away, but you start watching a little more of their video, like, yeah, you know what? I like this person. They pretty cool. Don't matter if they had 5,000 or 500. You a sub. You know what I'm saying? And that's how YouTube is.
Well, it's more enticing for a person to see 5, 10, even 2, 3,000. Like, the people, like, I don't know. Some people are weird like that, which me and you probably aren't like that. Like, I don't mind going to a dude with 20 subs. If he's talking about something I like, I'll subscribe to him. Man, some of these people, they won't even like look at you unless you have a decent amount of subscribers.
You
They
know
won't
what?
take you serious.
You know what, Dave? Like when I just be scrolling through, YouTube, because I also do music. So I like going to the music side and the music side. Like when I click on different people, like it's some people I know of, you know what I'm saying? And some people I never heard of. When I click on a video from the title and I want to see what they're talking about, I never look at the subs. That was never me. I never look at your sub to see how many subs you have. I just want to hear the content. If the content is good, I watch a couple of more videos. If it's kind of shaky, I'm like, the last few videos he had was good, or that topic he was talking about was good. I don't care too much for the other topic. I don't look at their subs when I click on videos. I just want to hear what they talking about. You know what I'm saying? And if I like them, I click for sub. And if I click sub, then I just so happen to look and be like, oh, okay, they got this many. But when I click on videos and I'm just looking at random people, I never look at their subs. I never do. I never had the habit of looking at people's subs. I just want to hear what you have to say. And if what you saying is genuine, I'm like, yeah, I agree with him on that. Yeah. Or you hilarious or you funny in your videos, then yeah, I like your videos and follow you. I don't care if you just started, you know what I'm saying, and you had 20. If you
Mm-hmm.
do your videos that's making me laugh, your humor, like yeah, I like the way he do videos, and also giving me the news, you know, or whatever he's talking about, movies, games, or whatever. Yeah, yeah, I'm clicking the dude. I don't care if he do got 20 subs. He got my sub because I'm liking what he do. That's how you grow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not looking at a person be like, okay, he got good content. Let me see. Oh shit, he got almost 1 million subs. Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna subscribe to him. I'm subscribed to him. Yeah, he almost got 1 million, so he good. He good. No, half of these cats, they got all these subs. That half of them just bullshit with you and just tell you whatever you want to hear. They don't even be genuine. They don't even tell you the truth on half of this stuff. They just say what you want to hear because everybody else is saying it.
Yep, that is true. I get when you like, people like Angry Joe, and we're not people like Angry Joe, like, he's putting in a lot of money into his videos. He's got high quality in most of his videos, like other than the movie stuff. Like I'm me myself, I'm looking to do what I'm doing right now. I'm happy with what I'm doing now. You can be a successful YouTuber because Boogie does that shit. He gets on there in front of the camera and talks, and it's got 4 million subscribers. And I haven't really seen a big change in his videos other than the scenery in his videos, and probably he's gonna about to be losing a lot of weight soon because he went and got the gastro bypass shit.
Yeah,
But, like that guy turns on the cam and there he goes. And I used to get on camera. I don't do it too much no more. I get on camera for my live streams, but I stopped getting on camera. I did. I did it for a long time, and I just got. I just you never know what people are going to see in a video and use against you. Something I could by accident leave out. You never know. They're looking for everything. So I was like, fuck it. I was like, I'm done. I was like, I'll take a break from getting on camera. And sometimes I just want to play games when I talk, like I am right now. And I don't have to worry about being live looking at the camera. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Uh, when if I didn't run into so much bullshit with people, I would still be on camera. I wouldn't mind it. I never was scared to get on camera or nothing like that. At first you are when you first start doing it, then you get comfortable with the camera, and we get really good after a while. With this gaming stuff, I probably won't get on camera, only on live streams like with gaming. But if I do something else on YouTube, possibly, in another community away from this community.
yeah.
But yeah, I just like to have fun and just talk like this. But Joey RKO, he's asking me if I have a gaming PC. No, I just have the Switch, the PS4 regular, vanilla, or whatever you want to call it, the Xbox One, vanilla, and the new 3DS. That's all I got. I don't know if I'll ever get into PC gaming. I've heard a lot of good things about it. I just don't have the money just to drop on that right now. And I think I got enough to play right now. And like Hydro said, I'm a big UFC guy. And you got the new UFC 3 coming out, which Marshall Mines, I believe his name is. I just watched a video from him, and he says it's pretty good, the new UFC. He said his only complaint with it was the animations. The animations looked a little weird, but he says by the time the game comes out, that's all going to be fixed because he was talking to the main developer of the game with EA, and they said that they're working on all that. I just can't wait. That's one game I'm very excited for, and I feel it's going to be really fresh from what I've been hearing about it from the people that have got to mess with it and stuff. So I'm a big UFC fan. I play a lot of UFC. Actually, guys, I've been getting into Street Fighter, and so look, I've been playing a lot of Ultra Street Fighter. I can't stream that because of my PC, but I will be streaming Street Fighter 5. I'm going to be getting into. I'm going to be playing that on the PS4. Probably start playing that again. I'm gonna start doing some Injustice on the Xbox. I'm gonna start a lot of streams up, and I like to do it more consistent, like I did back back a little while ago. I just got burnt out on this shit, guys. I got to keep it real. Even with everything that happened, that was part of the reason. With everything that happened, and then I had real life stuff going on that I'd like to talk about with you guys, but I who knows what that would turn into? You know what I'm saying? So I keep a lot of stuff, not a lot of stuff. I try to, still tell you guys a lot about myself, but I got to watch what I say. I used to not watch what I say. I didn't give a fuck what I said, and it's a bad thing to be like that. I learned that on YouTube. But Dirty, I had a good time with this podcast, guys. I might do another one next week. And if it's not next week, I'll have it the week after. I'm looking to do every 2 weeks, but if I'm feeling good, I'll do it every week. At least the podcast, and I'll keep streams going and stuff. I just haven't lately. I just been busy, but I figured I'd do one tonight. I wanted to do one this week, and I really, it's just a random podcast, just talking about whatever comes to mind. And I know we talked a lot about the Switch, but there's a lot to talk about with the Switch. But I appreciate everybody that checked out the podcast tonight. Got Game of Thrones and Hours on tonight. Ray Donovan's back on, and one more thing. Oh, the Strain.
Yeah, the Strain is on tonight.
Strain's pretty. I hope it gets a little bit better. But it's still fun to watch. And I think something else. Oh, I gotta watch the episode of Snowfall. That's another good show that just started up. I missed an episode. I fell asleep last night watching. I can't watch it all night, but I'm watching most of it.
Yeah.
But thank you guys in the chat. Joey RKO, Flip Bayless, thank you guys. 16-bit Gamester, Wolfflow, thank you guys. He goes by Melly814. I always call him 16-bit Gamester. Same thing with Flip Bayless, Hydro. Shout out to Hydro and everybody. Video Game Lover, Levon Kayson, Callie's in the chat too. Shout out to Callie. Let's see if I mix. I think I got everybody. Resurrection, Redemption, both you guys. Thank you guys. Stiffkins, thank you guys. Thank you, buddy. The one named Shadow, thank you for watching. And I think I got everybody. If I missed anybody, sorry. I'm just trying my best. The chat on my phone only scroll back so far. But thank you, Dirty, for doing this podcast. Was there anything you wanted to bring up before we ended it?
Nah, that'd be it.
Yeah, the only reason I'm cutting it short, I would have went a little bit longer, guys, but I got Game of Thrones and shit to watch tonight. But thank you, guys. We'll be streaming. Maybe, I don't know about tonight, but this week, actually, I got to keep it real. I'll be streaming probably during the day if I stream, because I'm going to be working mostly nights this week. So I'll be streaming probably during the day. But I'll get back to streaming stuff. Things are getting better. Stuff was going on there for a little while. And the personal stuff and YouTube, I got that strike that screwed me up. But hopefully things will go back to the normal programming. All right, thank you, Dirty, and thank you everybody in the chat. Thanks, Dirty, again, like I said. And that's it, guys. Till next time.
Peace.
Later.